from our agent training perspective to our client education, we really stress you are unique. You are totally different than every other buyer and seller that we have in here, and we
This is
cater
true.
to that. Your story's not the same as my story. It might look similar, but our chapters are different.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is the Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Welcome back. My name is Kevin McIntosh. This is the Closing Table, and on this episode, we will be speaking with Kristi Roberts of K&E Realty. How you doing, Kristi?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me today.
Why, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. I know you're a busy agent and got a lot of things to do, so I appreciate you taking some time out and being with us today. Want to start off by saying happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yep.
Getting old.
And yeah, blessed to be here. And
exactly.
We're going to start things off with a quick game, icebreaker. I call it this or that. I have a word and or phrase related to real estate. I have two of them. You just choose one based on your own merits, statistics, characteristics, experience, etc., etc. You ready?
I'm ready. I don't know.
All right.
I think I'm ready.
All right. First one, networking or marketing?
Networking.
Okay.
It's about face-to-face, building
great.
relationships.
There you go. Good. Thanks for explaining that. Next one, ability to work independently or teamwork skills?
Ooh. Independently. And it's a little ironic from what I normally do. But if you can work independently and have a thorough knowledge, you can be a huge asset to a team. So I think to be successful in real estate, you really need to do both. But if you can only work successfully on a team for the longevity of the business, I think you'll struggle. But if you can work independently and merge yourself into a team, I think you'll be stronger. We have power in numbers.
Thank you for elaborating on that. I was not expecting that. Thank you. Okay, good.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. That's spot on. Let's do it. Lastly, closing skills or follow-up skills?
Follow-up.
Okay. Just like that then. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
I'm
playing
going to
our
go back
game.
to my first one. It's all about relationships.
Yes.
Closing's a transaction. Right. We're about relationships.
No, that's I'm not going to say that's expected, but that definitely goes along with what I would assume, in your profession. So thank you, Kristi, for starting off and playing my little game that I made up just to keep things a little immature. Awesome. So let's get into it. I want you to start off by giving us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about Kristi Roberts, and then we're going to talk about your current market. First, who is Kristi Roberts? Give us like a quick 30, 60 seconds.
30-second rundown. I'm Kristi Roberts. I've been licensed since 2010. I opened up a boutique brokerage in 2017, hired on my first group of agents in 2018. Currently, we have 14 people, 14 agents, 3 staff, and we're located in Howell, Michigan. And aside from work, I'm a hockey mom. I have 3 kids in travel hockey, and I have a total of 5 kids altogether. So I'm a busy mom.
Oh my goodness. On top of being a top producing full-time real estate agent.
Absolutely.
Oh man, okay.
No rest for the wicked.
So, man, yeah, I saw your social media platforms. You are really busy and getting to it. So you're making things work though. We appreciate that. Well, sure. Let's get into your current market and what you do. So describe for our audience right now, geographically, first and foremost, the current market that you serve, and then just give us many details about what's going on in your current market.
Sure. So being in Howell, we're located centrally between Lansing and Ann Arbor. So that's kind of our broad, our range of things. We work predominantly with veterans. I'd say for the past 5 years, about 60% of our business has been veteran based.
Mm,
Going into our new market, we're focusing more on listings. So we're trying to hyper focus in our local market, but you'll find us anywhere. Last year we served over 150 families. The year before that, close to 200 families, all within this, hour radius of Howell.
right.
So we've got a pretty broad reach, but we do try
Hmm.
to keep it as close as possible because our whole business philosophy is family.
There you go.
Our culture within the office is family, so I can't really keep that family vibe by serving people 2 hours away or having a huge spectrum of the type of clients that we work with.
There you go. No, staying true to your market. That's that's
Mhm.
that's real because I mean sometimes I'll talk to agents. They'll say I do the whole state of Michigan, or I'll do
Yeah,
I do the whole Midwest region. I'm like, okay,
right. And that's
like
great
all
for some
right, to each
people.
his own.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's not my business model. I want
Right.
to go get a cup of coffee and run into a client. That's kind
Correct.
of
Correct.
the vibe I want.
Correct.
Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Whatever serves you. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay. So let's talk to our first time home buyers and sellers and get into the whole process of home buying. So how can a first time home buyer make their offer stand out in a seller's market right now, especially amongst other buyers who may be more experienced in the game?
So I found that the biggest success that we have is educating our clients up front. So that way
Hmm.
we can prepare them so when they do find the house that they love, they're ready. They know what they need to do. So we always have a buyer's consultation, and at that consultation, we kind of pinpoint like what direction are you going? We build a roadmap, or we call it the GPS. So where do you want to be and when do you want to get there? Now let's find you the road to get there. So
Mm,
we will sit down and talk to somebody like, our do you have money? Right now in our market, that's a big thing. Are you coming in with a large down payment? Do you have earnest funds? Do you know what closing costs are? Do you have closing costs? So having those conversations with the clients up front and then structuring our plan of action based on that. So if you come to me and you're a first time home buyer getting a USDA or a VA loan, those require zero money down. So when you're
mm,
competing against somebody on a $300,000 home that's putting down 60,000 and you're putting down zero right away, the sellers are going to look at you like, is this a quality buyer? So then we
right.
educate our buyers like this is what we're going to be going up against. So for every negative that we have, let's show them a positive. So that military client that's coming in with zero down, I'm going to have the loan officer reach out to that agent and explain to them how their desktop underwritten. I might, have them black out their account numbers on their 401k statements, showing that, they might be qualified for zero down, but they have $100,000 in their 401. Just
Mm,
altering things to make them look better and to
right.
show that they're just as good as that 60% person or that $60,000 down person, and then having conversations with agents, having a reputation in the market that when I promise you something, I'm going to do anything and everything possible to deliver on that promise, both
There it
from the
is.
clients and the other agents. Learning how to play nice in the sandbox is essentially what I call it.
It makes sense. I mean, you use other assets and other things,
Mhm.
other capital for, for leverage that
Right.
that you don't have. So, all
Yep.
right, thanks for breaking that down. And there's a few things that you mentioned in there I want to kind
Mhm.
of dive a little bit deeper into also.
Sure.
Earnest money deposit, down payment.
Yes.
What are the difference? What are they?
So the earnest deposit is basically it's like a good faith deposit. When
Mhm.
your offer is accepted, you put down a small deposit, and that's held usually by the buyer's agent or a title company until you close. And if the buyer
Okay.
defaults on the contract, the seller might have the rights to retain the earnest money. So
Oh,
it's good faith. The more you
gotcha.
put down, the stronger your offer looks. So
Mhm.
if that 20% down seller that you're competing against is putting $1,000 down, we don't know what that person's putting down. But if my client has $9,000, I'll say, you know what? Let's put your $9,000 as an earnest deposit. There's risks to it. Like, hey, don't do this unless you're 100% serious because you have the risk of losing it. But if
Right.
you're moving forward in good faith, let's show them how strong you are and do the higher
Hmm.
earnest deposit because at the end of the day, the seller is getting cashed out at the closing table. doesn't matter if a buyer's putting $60,000 down. If
Hmm.
that house is $300,000, the seller on closing day is getting $300,000.
Correct.
Does
Correct.
it matter how the buyer paid for it? No.
No. No.
What matters is the terms of the offer that gets us to the closing table.
Mm, All right. So help me understand this then. Is the earnest money deposit, are you saying the earnest money deposit is a non-refundable deposit? And I mean, is the down payment refundable in case you want to back out? Can we explain
So
this also?
the down payment isn't paid until closing. And
Okay.
that's something that the buyer is going to work directly with their mortgage company on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's totally separate than earnest. Earnest is just
Got
a
you.
good faith deposit, and it is refundable under certain circumstances. For instance, if you do a home
Mm,
inspection and you're within your inspection period, if the buyer finds things that they're not comfortable with and the seller won't remedy them, they can back out. And when they back out, they'll get their earnest money back. And there's a
got you.
couple other ways in the contract that it's possible to get it back. Good thing is Michigan's a mutual release state. So unless the buyer and seller both come to terms and an agreement, the money's held. So as a broker, I
Mm,
can't say, oh, it's okay. I'm going to make sure you get your earnest money back. Like I can't
right.
say that. I have to work with the other agent and we have to get all parties to agree. So it
Mm.
safeguards it both from the buyer's perspective and the seller's perspective.
Great information. Great information. Thank you for providing that.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. So let's talk about other myths and misconceptions. So a lot of people may still be under the mindset of this 20% down myth, right?
Sure.
I think if our audiences listen to the closing table enough, they heard that we've broken that down and said that's not necessarily true or common.
Mhm.
Actually, we're saying I believe like 6% for first time home buyers, somewhere between like 14-17% for repeat buyers. But let's just talk about, without putting 20% down, what will be a penalty or a fee that someone will have to face if they bought a home and took advantage of not having to put 20% down? Do they still get the same rights as someone who does put 20% down? Let's break that down for our audience.
So this is more of a mortgage question, but I can answer just in general. So
Okay.
with a down payment, the biggest effect it's going to have aside from lowering your mortgage rate is going to be your PMI, your private mortgage insurance.
Mm,
So if you do not have 20% down, it's going to be required by most loans. So conventional loans, even FHA loans, they require private mortgage insurance. If you're VA,
wow.
they don't have private mortgage insurance. They have a funding fee that goes onto it. But the amount that you're going to be paying is going to fluctuate based on whether you're putting, like conventional right now for first time home buyers has a program where you can buy a house with 3% down. So if you're putting 3% down, your PMI might be slightly higher than if you were putting 15% down. So
Mm,
it's a sliding scale and I believe it's adjusted both on the amount that you're putting down and on your credit score.
got
So
you.
it's going to be a
Oh,
little bit
okay.
different for everybody.
There you go. Okay. So it's not like someone can put 25% down and I put 10% down and we both get the same mortgage rate. You know, we both bought it, so we both paying the same mortgage rate. I would have to pay a PMI, private mortgage
Right.
insurance, on top of what I'm already paying. Oh,
Correct.
thank
Like
you,
your
Kristi.
interest rate may be the same, because that's more
Mm.
based on credit score and debt to income, but your private mortgage insurance would fluctuate.
Oh, okay, okay. Got it now. Thank you, Christy.
You're
So how
welcome.
about this? I don't know if this is a mortgage question or not, but what about in regards to closing costs?
Mhm.
I know even if I were, or the average buyer were to get their down payment taken care of, they still have to pay closing costs in most cases, right? But
Absolutely.
what are there any ways that they can get that cost offset by any chance?
There is. There's a couple different ways that we can do that.
Okay.
So, in a seller's market, it's very hard to do this, but we've been pretty
Mm,
successful with it. So, say you come to me and you're very, very tight on your money. And this is where our buyer's consultation comes into play because if I know this up front, it's going to change the way that we negotiate and even how we look for homes.
gotcha.
So, if you come to me and say, I'm buying a $200,000 house with FHA mortgage and I only have $7,000.
Hmm.
I know you don't have any money for your closing costs. So I'm am I going to urge you or push you in out the door to look at that house that has 15 offers on it? Probably not. Because What we need to do is, if you don't have the money to pay your closing cost yourself, we need to negotiate that with the seller. So say on that $200,000 house, maybe we find one that's everything that you want and it's been on the market for 10 days, right? So it's been on the
Uh-huh.
market for a little bit. We can go make an offer on that house and ask the seller to pay it. So maybe we'll do that instead of asking for a price reduction. It's been on the market. Sometimes, it becomes day old bread. Nobody pays full price for the day old bread, right? So
Mm.
instead of saying, okay, well, we'll give you 195 for your house, we might turn around and say, I'm going to give you $200,000 on this house, but I need you to give me a seller's concession of $8,000. I need you to pay my closing cost. So
Uh,
the buyer is going to mortgage 200,000.
right.
The seller is going to net 192,000, and
Right.
then that $8,000 is basically at the closing table going to be credited right to the buyer to pay the buyer side of the closing fees. So it's
Mm,
essentially like
mm.
a price reduction for the seller.
Right, right, right. But they'll essentially be paying a little bit more in their mortgage because on the
These are
principal side
Yep.
because okay, got you. They took
Now the
out
house
one.
has to appraise for that, so that's like another layer that comes in. So we need to
Of
make sure that
course.
we do it on houses that are worth it. Another way that we
Ah.
can do it, and with the interest rates being on the higher side right now, it's
Mhm.
not as easy to do. But when interest rates were
Gotcha.
very low, some mortgage companies were allowing buyers to um, wrap in some of their closing costs by increasing the interest rate. So instead of maybe a
Mm.
4%, they were going a 4.25 or 4.5. And then that extra money that they'd be paying in interest, the lender was able to forward over as credits to pay closing cost.
Oh, I actually know of a few lenders that were doing that at the
Yeah.
time too. Oh,
It's
that's
not the best
interesting.
idea to do right now in today's market, but
Correct. Got you.
it's good to know so when things change, we can go back to that route. And then it's a little bit easier for buyers.
Got you. Got you. Okay. Okay. I have one more for you. I don't know if this is a knuckleball or whatever, but I'm interested to see how you respond to this. There's another common myth in real estate that we
Yes.
hear a lot. It's there's never a bad time to buy.
Hmm.
Can you explain when is the time not to buy a home?
Absolutely. Actually, I've done a TikTok on this. So, you don't
Hmm.
want to buy a home if you are not in a position to pay for the home. And what I mean is there's more to buying a house. You hear a lot of people saying buying is cheaper than renting. Put money
Hmm.
into your own bank account. But let me ask you this. If you're buying a house, and let's just say, our average price point here at our brokerage, because we do work everywhere, is about $350,000, right?
Okay.
So you're buying that house at $350,000 and you've had to scrimp and scrape every single dime to get to that $350,000. You don't even have your closing costs. Like you're all in, barely making it.
Right. Right.
And that house that you buy is your dream home. It's you wanted to be the next Joanna Gaines. So you bought this old farmhouse, right? Okay, well, old farmhouses cost a lot of money sometimes. Unexpected
Mm.
things happen. So if you don't have a nest egg to take care of small things, or actually, I shouldn't even say small things, big things, like your furnace breaks, your water heater blows up, your roof starts leaking.
Oh,
Yeah, like those are
yeah.
big things that sometimes buyers don't think about. They just look at it going, you know what? I can
Good
afford
point.
a $2,000 mortgage or a $3,000 mortgage, but can you afford that and still afford living in the home? Because
Correct.
unlike when you're leasing, you can't just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Mr. Landlord, my roof's leaking, come fix it." Now it's
Yeah.
you. You are
Yep.
that landlord. So
Oh.
if you are that person that's struggling or that is buying at the top range, I would say, you know what? Let's take a deep breath, evaluate it, and let's make sure that you can do this. I never want to tell somebody, no, you shouldn't buy a house. That's not my business. I'm not
Right.
making
Right.
your mortgage payment. But
Hmm.
what I do say to you is, okay, how much money are you going to have left at the end of the month? And are you going to be able to afford things if they break? What is your game plan? Like you might not
Mm.
have cash in the bank, but do you have a large line of credit at least? So when your furnace breaks down on Christmas Eve, you can call up a company and get a new furnace.
Right.
Or are
Right.
you going to be
Okay.
staying at your in law's house because you have no heat?
Mm.
Or
Okay.
a lot of people, especially with COVID, people went from working at home, now they're going back into the office. So a lot of people who went when they started working from home, they moved out further away. And now they have to
Mm,
go back closer. Or they might be changing jobs. So if you're in a position at your company that you might be moving soon,
mhm.
it may not be a good time to buy. We're getting more towards a traditional market where we're losing the 15, 20, sometimes 25% equity acceleration and
Right.
home appreciation, or we're
Yep.
going more back to traditional appreciation, which is about 5 or 6%. So if you're buying a house today and you have a 5 or 6 appreciation rate going on it, it might take you a couple of years to be able to sell the house and break even.
Correct. Correct. Oh,
So if
wow.
I know I get
No,
deep on
yeah.
things, sorry.
No, no, Kristi, this is why we're here. This is why we're here. You bring that information to the closing table. You are really dropping knowledge. So it seems like it's never like an overall one answer for everybody type of thing. It's an
No,
individual case by case situation on whether or not it's your time to buy.
100%. And
Mm,
actually, what you're saying right now is that's kind of like our value proposition here. We teach, like, from our agent training perspective to our client education, we really stress you are unique. You are totally different than every other buyer and seller that we have in here, and we
this is
cater
true.
to that. Your story
Yeah.
is not the same as my story. It might look similar, but our
Mhm.
chapters are different.
Correct. Correct.
At
Great
the end of the day, we all want
perspective.
the happy ending, though.
No, 100%. Yeah, home with our families,
Mhm.
happy ending. Yeah, 100%, 100%. I get it. All right, representing K&E Realty,
Yes.
top 1% VA agency. Let's speak on that. You already mentioned it briefly. Why are veterans a priority to your organization, first and foremost?
So I look at it as a way to serve the people that have served us. I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of times, especially on the buyer side, when I've presented buyers offers that were veterans, they get kind of pushed off aside because they don't have large down payments. And what
Mm,
people don't understand is that our military personnel, they earned their down payment. Like they paid for it with blood, sweat, tears, and the sacrifices that they made away from their
correct,
families.
correct.
So I I find like it's my personal mission to do this as a thank you to them.
Mhm.
Um, it's an underserved market for sure. A lot of agents may do 2 to 3 VA transactions their entire career. And that's not us. We do 2 to 3 transactions right now in a slower market a month in our Office of Veterans. So we really
Mm,
make it our priority. I want to help the people that keep my family safe.
there you go.
That
Makes a
sums it up right there.
That makes sense right there in a nutshell. So, what makes your agency rank in the top 1% amongst VA agencies? What's the sauce?
The sauce is simple: rinse and repeat.
Mm,
If you come to me, whether you're a veteran or you're just somebody off the street, you become part of our family. Houses to homes, clients to friends. We build the relationships with you. So when we're working with these military families and I do right for you and I
mhm,
get your offer accepted, or I sell your home quickly because you've got a PCS into another state and I get you maximum profits, you tell everybody about me because I took care of you.
right.
And you're loyal to your country, you're loyal to your people, and I'm earning my spot in your loyalty circle.
There you
And
go.
again, it's rinse and repeat. The
There it is.
authenticity of it is pure relationship building and advocating for those that people are afraid of. I'm not afraid of a VA loan. I'm not afraid to step out of a shell and say, hey, Mr. Seller's agent or Mrs. Seller's agent, here's why you should take my client's offer. Military
Mhm,
clients usually have higher credit scores, they have more job stability, they have been conditioned mentally to pay bills on time, to do everything that they need to do in order to move forward. And they usually
okay.
have plan Bs as backups. So they're great people to work with. We educate them, we tell them this is how it works, we answer their questions, we come up with a plan, and we execute the mission and then repeat it
Nice.
again and again.
There it is. There it is. No, you know, first and foremost, I 100% agree. It is an underserved market. And with that
Mhm.
being said, just with everything that you just explained, I want to thank you for serving the people who
Oh, thank
serve
you.
us. So you're doing due
A
diligence
service of
there.
servers.
I know, right? I know. Yeah, great. So I want to speak on this situation with these finished basements. So
Okay.
Michigan is a state that has basements. Not all
Yes.
states and markets have basements, right? So we're fortunate enough to see what a basement is. But you explained that finished basements don't add as much to the home's monetary market value. When I saw this, I said, wait, huh? Because I've seen some fantastic finished basements and
Mhm.
like, yo, this must make the house cost $100,000 more dollars. But you're saying
Sure.
no. So can you explain why this is the case?
All right, so here's my legal disclosure. I'm not an appraiser, but
Ah.
I sell a lot of homes and I've looked at a bunch of appraisals.
Mm-hmm.
We have two different things to consider. We have appraisal value and we have market value, right?
Okay.
So,
Right. Right.
market value is what a buyer wants. Hands
Mhm.
down, buyers love finished basements, right? You
Mhm.
know, it's additional square footage. They can entertain, they can throw their kids down there. They can set up their workshops and their home offices, whatever, their workout rooms, whatever they want. It's
Mhm.
additional square footage. But an appraiser will look at that square footage and say, "That's great, it's finished. We'll give you some credit, but we're not going to give you 100% of the credit." So,
Wow.
I find in most instances, it's in most appraisals that I've seen, it's been about an $85 a foot adjustment to a home that's not finished,
Mm.
or it's classified like this is the above grade. So we're going to give this, say, $200 a square foot. We're going to give this one $120 a square foot because it's
Mm.
not considered the same livable space. And that's what it comes down to.
Oh,
Even in your
okay.
taxes, if you look at your taxes, the
Mhm.
assessed value is based off of above grade square footage.
Oh, it specifically says above grade square
Mhm.
footage right there.
Total
Oh,
square
man.
total finished square footage and above grade square footage. They charge you taxes on that basement, but it's not at the same level as above grade. So appraisers use that same formula. So we have appraised value, market value. Market says yes, appraisal
Yeah.
says sure, do it, but you're not going to get the same. So I just warn people, I've seen some amazing home bars, home theaters. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went to one house because I'm a hockey mom. I pay attention to these things. They had an indoor hockey rink in their basement. It was gorgeous.
Oh,
Like,
oh my.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
fake ice, but it was gorgeous, right?
Still, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man. The
That
things you can do with
house,
basements.
you're not going, you spend $100,000 to get that basement on point. The
Yep.
appraiser may not give you that. So when you're finishing a basement, you just need to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. Don't put $50,000 or 100,000 or even $20,000 into your basement thinking you're going to get a direct reflection in your appraisal. You won't.
Right. Right. Oh, wow.
The market will like it though.
Yeah. Oh man, you just bust some bubbles with that one. Cause when
I
I
know.
saw it, I said, wow.
So we did a TikTok on it and I got over 700 views because people argue 700,000 views because people
Mhm.
arguing out finished basements versus non-finished and the value with
Woo.
it.
Yeah, yeah. See,
I
yeah, you
mean,
touched a lot of hearts with that because the basement is like that's that sacred area. Like that could be a
yeah,
man cave, it could be the family area, it could be the rec
everything.
area, it could be workout area. Oh man.
Especially in Michigan where we have the 4 seasons and really
Yep, yep.
you don't have much time to be outside. So that's like a whole nother area for that recreation. So
Oh
they're
man.
great. Market loves it. I love it. I finished my basement. I spent a lot of money on my basement. But when I did it, every nail I'm pounding in going, oh man, I'm not going to get the money back out of this. But I
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
memories.
Yeah, that no, 100%. You just made me think about some of my memories in basement. Yeah, okay. There we go. Right there, that's what we call a closing table clip right there. Cause that was perfect. We're gonna clip that up right there. All right, so I
Awesome.
got one last one for you, Kristi. Drive versus talent. Does drive trump talent?
Every day, all day.
Mm, explain.
All right. So you have the drive to learn. You learn, you do it. You have the drive to succeed. You might be the most talented person in the world, but if you don't get out of bed every morning and spread your talent, does it matter?
Mm,
The person who's got the drive and the hustle, they're going to make moves happen. You may not even be the best at what you do, but if you're spreading the word and you're helping people and you're going, you will succeed far more than that talented person who's just, hey, I'm here. Now, give me some talent and drive. You got some amazing skills.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
But I would choose drive over talent every day, especially in our industry. Nobody's born a real estate agent. You learn. And if you're smart, you fail forward. You learn, you strive, you take risks, you fail so you can learn and become stronger.
There it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
You just get caught up in, it's easy for me so I don't have to work at it. You don't take those additional steps to really push forward.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And like you said, when you put drive with talent, you get Kristi Roberts. Right there.
No, I don't know about
that. Top producing agent, thank you for coming and being here and pulling up a chair to the closing table, Kristi. We appreciate you. Right now, if you have any last words and or want to tell the people how they can reach out to you, please do so now.
So the best way to reach me is go on our website, www.knerealty.com. You can find us on TikTok, KNE Realty 360, Instagram. We're everywhere in social media. Any questions, anything that you need in Livingston, Oakland, Washtenaw County, we're here to answer your questions. That's it. That's me.
All right, Kristi. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. For our YouTube viewers right now, if you got this far, please hit the like button for us. Also, share the video and subscribe to our channel. And for our podcast listeners, also on Spotify, Apple, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. And for our audience, we got a question for you. How long do you expect to take to save for a down payment for your home? Leave your comments below. Besides that, we'll see you next time.